Welcome to Ask Colleen, Spiritual Solutions for Life Situations. I'm Colleen St.Michaels, and I will be the host for this podcast. My aim is to provide you with the guidance and support through life's challenges, spiritual development, change, healing, and growth. Drawing from over 2 decades of experience as a spiritual practitioner, I will share my wisdom and offer answers to the questions that may weigh heavy on your heart and your mind. Remember that you are not alone, you are capable, and the light within you is unstoppable. Hello and welcome back to Ask Colleen, Spiritual Solutions for Life Situations. This is episode 3 and the conclusion of our Unlocking Our Intuitive Power mini-series. So in the first lesson, we learned, if you're new to listening, what is intuition and what is not intuition. In the second series, we learned about blockages and what is blocking us from receiving our divine source connection, communication, and information. And today we're going to talk about how it is that we trust our intuition, how it benefits us. What does intuitive living actually mean, and how does it influence our lives in a positive direction? So I'm so thrilled that you're here to join us and grow with us as we are talking about all things spiritual and how do we move through life situations using spiritual solutions. So we're going to start off today's episode with, again, an angel pull card or a guidance pull card from the Peace Warrior deck. And I created these cards as a tool to help individuals who are stuck, growing and learning, giving the tools that I wish I had when I was first developing. And I'm 20 plus years into the journey of healing, growing, expanding, and spiritually evolving. And I still love my cards. And why? Because they are a comfort, they're a validation and a confirmation to let us know, like, you're on the right track. Or if I feel confused, it gives me a starting point. It helps me just to say, you know what, Kyle? You got this, start here. Because often when we're in the middle of an internal conflict or confusion or fear or overthinking, we are so hyper-focused on the symptom that has shown up that is creating discomfort, when really there is a source reason behind it that is actually our why. So angel cards often, or guidance cards, and I call mine empowerment deck, because my goal is to empower each and every one of us, as well as myself, through each moment of the day. And when we ask ourselves, what do I need to know? We are opening up to the universe to say, you know what, here is what you think is the problem is just the symptom. And let's focus on this, because this is really the root of what's causing our discomfort. So to start every episode off, we're starting it off with an intention. What do we need to know as a group, as a collective, as all of us gathered here today, listening, myself talking and sharing? What do we need to know? What is the message that will help us? So when you're shuffling and whenever you feel like it's time to stop intuitively, you get that gut instinct. Affirmations. The validation we seek is in the affirmations we speak. And this card is so important because when we speak, our word is our wand. What we are speaking inside of us, what we're speaking outside of us, is a direct order for the alignment to what it is that we are to receive. And that's why it's so important that we become more aware, and we become aware in not only what our thoughts are, but what our beliefs are. What are our patterns? What are showing up for us? Because what is happening outside of us was a direct result from something that we have manifested. And, often when you hear manifested, everyone's always talking about manifesting the good things, manifesting the things that they wanted. But in reality, we manifest it all. We manifest the good, the lessons, the people. All of it is manifested. And through intuition, we can really learn to harness our energy and our alignment and focus on resetting that pathway to drawing to us things from a higher vibration, things that we want to experience, things that we want to to feel viscerally, to believe, to draw and speak into existence. So remember, the word is your wand. And just as important as the words you say outside, it is the words that you speak inside that are so important. So the validation we seek is in the affirmations we speak. And often we're so conditioned to always seek outside validation and to feel supported and validated by our peers and people who are around us. But that doesn't do anything for the person within us, because if you speak to people who are willing to make a change or want to make a change or want to put themselves out there or want to do something differently in life, when you speak to someone who's really putting themselves out there, and I give a lot of kudos and there's a lot of courage that it takes to take those steps to put yourself out there, to change directions. And often you'll hear that the people could have 1,000 people tell them that they have done a great job, that they have really done exceptional work, presented something exceptionally. And there could be one person in that audience who doesn't really care for them or didn't like the presentation or didn't like what they had to offer. And if you as a person can relate to that, which I can, and that one person really bothers you, it's because your belief system is not aligned with the people who say, you did a great job, I'm so proud of you. Your belief system is aligned to be triggered by the one person who doesn't. So that is rich information that you're getting to internally shift that belief and knowing that you're never going to please all of the people all of the time. And if people aren't aligned with what you have to share, to offer, to give, to present, don't take it personally. Just look at it that it is a beautiful message that you're not aligned with that person's energy. And that's okay. That's why they make vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, right? If we take the idea that like chicken doesn't get offended if you choose steak at dinner, it just is chicken, right? So if someone is not in alignment with what you do or how you do it, it doesn't mean that you avoid constructive criticism. It doesn't mean that you avoid listening to people. It just means that if someone is not in alignment with you, it's not our job to change them. It's not our job to fix it. And it's not our job to negotiate our energy to match theirs. It's our job to keep pressing forward and trusting ourselves intuitively, trusting ourselves on a soul level to know I may not know where I'm going, but I know it feels good. And one of the ways that we can build confidence in trusting intuition is by understanding the impressions that intuition gives us. So we may be seeing repetitive patterns that are intuition nudging you. You may be a series of numbers, right? You may be in the process of making change. You may start seeing angel numbers, 555, 111, 222, 333. These are all signals from spirit. These are all signals from your teams in the light and the light within you saying, keep going. 111 is such a powerful, motivational, support number that says you're in alignment with the highest vibrational number in the divine. Watch your thoughts. Be very nurturing of your thoughts. Be very nurturing of what you're presenting at this point into the universe to draw into you. Because if you're putting the negative things out, you're going to create obstacles that come into your space that you may not want to experience. Another impression is a visceral, unexplained feeling that moves through your body. If you're looking to make change and it feels incredibly uncomfortable to your mind because overthinking, stress creates an amazing blockage of information coming through because we're so clouded with scattered energy of overthinking, worry, fear, stress, that we're not allowing ourselves to be present to actually listen to the tangible advice coming through us. So you can ask, if you find that your mind is clouded or clear, give me a visceral feeling, give me a sign that I'm moving in the right direction. This is probably one of my greatest confirmation checkpoints when I'm making decisions and making choices. I ask myself, what does this feel like? Because if I say, okay, Colleen, and I've gone through this in the last year and a half where I've completely shifted my business. I am mentoring and teaching full time, whereas I used to see clients one-on-one for decades and do personal readings. And I loved it. It was magnificent. It was a joy. It was a privilege. I showed up for work every day just feeling elated that I got to do what I am passionate about. But it was time to shift. And in that shift, it was very difficult because I knew what it looked like going to work every day. I knew what it felt like. I knew the work. But then I needed to teach. I needed to shift directions. And in shifting directions, all this fear came rushing up. Like, oh my gosh, like this is all like my income. Oh my gosh, this is what I know. Oh my gosh, I have so many oh my goshes, it wasn't even funny. So then I tried to juggle where I was doing both. And that did not work. My intuition told me it wasn't going to work, but my fear nudged me to follow that path. And that was filled with potholes and obstacles because I burned my body out. I couldn't carry all these different vibrations. So when I finally put Humpty Dumpty back together again, and I knew that this next direction was going to be amazing. I knew it. I could feel it. But the fear was still there. So how did I navigate it? I navigated it by checking in with how the idea made me feel. So if bursts of inspiration are coming through to you, which is intuitive impressions, and your first instinct is to dismiss it or feel negative or feel afraid of it, stop yourself and ask yourself, what does this feel like when I think about it? What does this feel like for me? That is going to help support you in knowing that you're moving in the right direction. Because if it doesn't feel good, and throw yourself an example, it's like, okay, if I had to eat liver every day of my life, what does that feel like? Ugh, right? For me, that I know that's a strong no. But when I sat with the unknown of, I'm shifting directions and it feels alive, right? That's an intuitive confirmation to you. So if you're ruminating on what to do, how to do it, just think about your current situation. How does it make you feel? Think about the change. What does your body speak? It's a beautiful messaging system. It helps you to trust beautifully. Impressions are the gentle, consistent, kind conversations in your head. Colleen, you're enough. You can do it. You're doing great. Just gentle little powwows of positivity coming through you. And it just feels good. When you are in the process of making change and trusting your intuition, I will give you an insider tip. Your ego is going to ramp up. It is going to assault you. It is going to flare up because your ego knows that you're taking the microphone away from it and not listening to it the way you once did. And we can't be mad at the ego because we are the ones who told the ego on unconscious levels to take the microphone and keep us safe. Don't let us experience that again. Don't let us feel that again. Don't. So any opportunities that could trigger one of those pre-programmed thoughts, our ego's only doing the job we asked it to do. So we're not going to be angry at the ego. We're just going to ask the ego to take a back seat. But the gentleness inside becomes steady. And it's spoken in a way through your own voice. It's spoken through a feeling, an impression. Pay attention to the ringing in your ears. You may find that there is a dull ring in your ear or a high-pitched shrill. Right? That's all confirmation that there are changes at a different vibrational energy level that are happening, and they're quite beautiful. The physical changes around the energies of people. Intuitive impressions also come through other people, and when we pay attention to it. I remember years ago I had an event and I was working like 6, 7 days a week, and I was doing maybe 7 readings a day. It was a lot. I'm talking many, many, many years ago when I first began. And I was asked to do this event. And as a yes person, I said yes. And as I was driving there, I'm like, why did I say yes to this? I'm like, I've already worked 12 hours. I haven't seen my kids. And as a single mom, I was living in that survival mode of provide, 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 have to do. So I remember saying to the angels, I'm like, why did I say yes to this? Like, why, and when I said yes, I absolutely wanted to do it. Like, I felt that big yes. I felt the visceral experience. And I got there and I was like, ah. And I was like, I need to shift my attitude, Colleen. Like, snap out of it, snap out of your own way. So I was like, I'm so grateful for these opportunities, and thank you for allowing me to see why I'm here. Now, in my personal life, I've been having some issues with insurance and trying to get coverage for my son. And I was going through a system and I was just having all of these obstacles come up. And it was really frustrating because I didn't know what to do or how to fix it. And I put my sign out sheet up, and, people signed up to read. And the first woman who signed up to read, I started her reading and we started talking and started connecting, and I started giving her all her messages and connecting her with her loved ones and connecting her with her guidance and angels and all that beautiful stuff that I do. And as we ended the conversation, I heard my team of angels say, ask her what she does. I was like, that's strange because that's not normally a thing I would ask. And I was like, can I ask what you do for a living? And she blew me away, because I found out at that moment why I was there. She was the head of the organization that I was trying to settle and need help with. She was the head of the insurance area department of the exact branch that I needed assistance with. And that is why I was there. I was intuitively guided from the beginning to meet with this person. And intuition works like that, right? People have said to me over the years, well, my intuition told me that this person that I started a relationship was okay, but they're not okay. Like, it did not turn out well. Like, why was my intuition so wrong? Why was I so misguided? Well, that is a really interesting question, because they were not wrong. They trusted their intuition that in this connection of meeting this person and intertwining lives for a bit was a karmic bond that needed to be settled. Now, karma is an energy of not punishment. It is not good when you hear people say, oh, karma bitch, or karma this, and like as a punishment. It is not a punishment. Karma is an energy. It's an energy either our soul has experienced in another lifetime, and then we've gone through soul school and then grew through it, and then wanted to present ourselves with the learning opportunity to create a harmony in the karma, or create an end of a debt with that karma. But karma is a lifetime experience. It's not necessarily a moment experience. So it's like if you do something here, it's not karma an hour later, right? Energy is energy, but karma is different because it's a soul bonded energy, and our soul needs to experience it to go through it. So intuitively, if you are in a situation where you have met someone or had an experience that you felt very intuitively guided to experience, you're not wrong. How long we conduct the relationship is the human free will. That's where we get fuzzy, because often karma can be ended. All the signs have shown us that they're ending, but we choose to have an attachment and stay in it, right? That's a free will decision. But the initial impact of first meeting that person or having that experience is an intuitive alignment. So that's sometimes where intuition and mistrust can, counteract, but really is they trusted themselves to connect. That was accurate information. So however long we choose to stay in something, that's a personal choice. So once we understand that intuition is always happening within us, and we're looking to build a relationship, an intimate relationship with the inner person within us to create a wholeness. Often people will say that they feel like a part of them is missing or a piece of them is missing. Well, that usually is when we feel disconnected or we feel unattached to ourselves. And that is where intuition creates a healthy attachment, because we want to be attached to our intuition. We have to understand that it's abundance of joy and love. Intuition helps guide us through our learning lessons that our soul came here to experience, but it also is leading us to what is inherently ours at birth. Abundance is ours at birth. We're all created equal. No matter the lessons that we chose here to experience, we're all inherently wealthy with the ability to have wealth, love, happiness, joy, and abundance. But it's our perception that we have that creates our acceptance of that or our disassociation with it. So ask yourself, are you connected with the idea that you are unconditionally abundant, no matter the situation? And if you say no, you don't believe that, then that is showing you that there's a separation from your inner being. Because your inner being is your intuition, and it knows that we create the separation. I want you to imagine a sphere. And when we come in this world, our sphere is whole. We have life lessons on this side, and then we have abundance and joy, wealth, love, health, all of it. And in between, I want you to draw a little squiggly line, we have lessons that we're growing through. Now, what happens is that our world has imprinted within our thoughts that the struggle of life is real. You got to work hard to earn. Only, certain people achieve wealth. Only certain people achieve love, right? So what does that do to our perfectly balanced sphere? It creates separation. So the more we invest on one side, our society has taught us to invest heavily in lack. It has taught us to feel lack, believe in lack, and struggle. Well, that pulls us farther away from our divine birthright of abundance of health, wealth, love, joy. Money is energy. So what are we doing as we're connecting with our intuition? We're filling in the gap. We're creating that space that brings the sphere back into harmony, to understand that we are here to experience both lessons and abundance in equal proportions, but it's our perception of what we are allowed to have. So if your belief is of, I don't believe in myself, I am not abundant, I am living in lack, but I hope for the best, right? We are creating a separation from our divine abundant self. We're creating a separation from that and feeding that portion of life is a struggle, attracting more struggle, right? So if we can shift our mindsets just in this moment to understand that we are 100% balanced, and we're just trying to create space to allow that in. And that's what you're doing as you are healing, as you are evolving, growing, as you are expanding your vibration. You're just closing up the gap that kept you separate from what is inherently yours, because you are an abundant being. And intuition helps us to accept that. Intuition helps to lead us to the path of obstacles to remove from that belief so that you can live the life you choose, not the life you believed you signed up for. Because the life that you're currently living is an illusion or an impression of what you thought life would be. And often people become very unhappy with their lives, and they tend to blame the people around them. But in reality, we are 100% responsible for our own happiness, 100% responsible for our own joy, 100% responsible for the choices we make, because anything else after that, we are a volunteer. If you're not happy with the partnership you have, you can put whatever what ifs in front of it, but you're responsible. And if you're choosing to stay, then own the choice to stay. Don't put it on the other person. It's because of them, this, and this. Because that muddies the waters about what we're capable of. I stayed in something for over 20 years that it was so misaligned, but I was so Catholically driven that I was like, I made my bed, I slept in it. I don't blame anyone for any of my experiences. I take ownership that I was a volunteer. The first time something happened, yes, that was 100% caught me off guard. The time after that, and 99,000 other times after that, I always had a choice. Stay or leave. I own the choice that I did what I knew how to do at that time. Now that I know better, I do better for myself. And that's how you can move through hard decisions, by giving yourself the opportunity to know that you always have a choice. You may not like the choice, but you always have it. So don't limit yourself in your accepting choices because they don't fit in the box in which you're comfortable with. Intuition will take you out of the box, and that's the relationship of trust. Trusting yourself enough to know that it's safe for you to move forward. And as you are working intuitively with yourself, you always have to remember whether you want to start a spiritual business, whether you want to, open a business or start to travel or make healthier choices. Your intuition is the guide for all of those things. Intuitive eating, intuitive living, intuitive decision making. So what does it look like to make an intuitive decision? So you're at a job and you're completely feeling suffocated. You feel like the energy is very misaligned. You feel like you're not being compensated financially. You feel like the balance of living is completely polluted by the hours or the expectancy of what someone expects of you. Or you feel like you are being forced to sacrifice life. Life is meant to be saved, is the human response. The spirit looks at it, life is meant to be lived, not saved. And so often we get caught up in these old paradigms of thinking that, we work. And joy is not ever a question about that. It's always about the money, the provisions. How about you can look at it that just because you make a change doesn't mean you choose poverty. That you have the ability to think beyond and saying, I choose a job that doesn't feel toxic. I choose a job that doesn't feel suffocating to my spirit. I choose a job that brings joy, fulfillment. And don't be afraid to have that in life review with you, because the person you might have been when you started this career is not the person you are now. So asking yourself intuitively, what do I want, will be your best friend, because you're always evolving. And if you love the career you have, you love the job you have, you love it, then stay. But if you feel like your life is so out of whack, out of balance, that you're not able to find any energy to do this, or this, then ask yourself that question. How can I create a counterbalance in my life so that I can have a career, but actually live? And what most people experience is, as they're going through these questions, they're going through a grief. This is a huge period of grief that people are experiencing because they're grieving the version of themselves that once was. So they think they're depressed. And I'm not dismissing, I'm not a doctor by no means. There is true clinical depression. But when we're repressing our soul from growing, it creates a depression within us. It creates us to feel stuck. It creates us to feel depleted energetically. It creates us to feel unmotivated. The energies are coming in so strongly now, and they're supporting us to release the density of limitation within us. And our intuition is guiding us to feel safe in releasing. But we're holding on so tightly. And when we hold on, we're just creating more resistance. And wherever we feel resistance, we'll keep growing it when we keep fighting it. So If you find yourself questioning or feeling sad or grieving, allow yourself to feel all the feelings. Allow yourself to just express that out. Allow yourself to just feel it. And in doing so, your intuition now has a space to breathe, to offer the guidance. It doesn't have conflict with all of this fear pressing down, because fear and love cannot live in the same energy. Fear cannot coexist in the energy of love. And when we are feeling, we are stepping out of love and we are stepping away from our intuitive being. Intuition is self-love, community love, it is love. So ask yourself, am I stepping in or out of love? And as you become more comfortable trusting your intuition, you'll find that it is just organic within you. It always has been. So when I first started, I was an angel intuitive. So that meant my intuition was connecting me with the divine sources that are around us. And intuition is 100% the foundation of any spiritual growth. Because if you choose to do angel communication, if you choose to do mediumship communication, if you choose to do spiritual guidance for people, I want you to look at your intuition as the microphone system or the frequency system, the operating system. And all of these extra communications come through that receiver. So if I was communicating with angels, that microphone led this way, spoken through my intuition. If I was speaking to loved ones crossed, then that microphone would come through my intuition. If I'm asking about myself, it's coming through my own intuition. Everything is intuition driven when we are on the healing journey, on the growing journey, on the spiritual journey. When we seek enlightenment, we are lightening our mind from the heaviness and the density of the negativity. So we are enlightening our mind to release the heaviness and the density within it, to create light within us, to allow that personal guidance system to be on and to be heard, felt, seen, and lived. So intuition is the foundation of doing a spiritual business. Intuition is the foundation of energy. A lot of times energy workers will have intuitive impressions that come through them during sessions when they're working on someone, but they don't know how to articulate it. Therapists may have sessions where their clients are experiencing a situation and they're getting information intuitively that feels different than what the client is saying. Those are intuitive impressions that are coming through them. And in partnering with those intuitive impressions, we can help people at such a different pace and rate. As coaches, we are constantly on the front lines of human experiences. And often as a coach, we can help people better through intuitive coaching to help people gently become more aware of what is happening and why things are happening to them by intuitively being guided to seek out the patterns and see the behaviors that may be missed by the person going through it. So there's a powerful tool in developing your intuition, no matter what field of interest or work you do. As law enforcement will call it for years, they listen to their gut, their hunch, their instinct, right? Business, corporations may call it their savvy. Whatever you call it, those intuitive impressions moving through you are all instinct of intuition. And that powerful tool of trusting it will help you to attract healthy relationships, will help you to attract jobs, situations, experiences that are in alignment with your spirit, that bring elevation of joy, elevation of happiness, of pleasure of life. So you're not getting through life. You're actually co-creating and being in the moment of every day of every life. So when you are vibrationally beginning, you may feel like you're this, and you may feel like the steps to developing your intuition feel like frustrating. Well, then your vibration raises. well, then your intuition becomes closer to you. As we spoke before about closing in that gap, my intuitive muscle is so strong that I don't really know the difference between the intuitive me and the me. And because I have developed the relationship with it so intimately that it is a part of me and it's not separate from me. So if I'm going through a situation, it doesn't mean I don't have a human response of like, oh, snap, what do I do? It just takes a minute, let you feel the oh, snap. And then I'm like, okay, intuitive me, what do we need to do? Can I have a plan? Can I have a letter? Can I buy a vowel? Something that creates a comfort to me to know that where I am going and what I am doing is guided correctly. So I appreciate your company today as we do this third wrap up of our mini series of our intuitive power. And I encourage, if you have any questions, send an email to St. Michaels, Colleen@gmail.com. If you have a question for Colleen, me as Colleen, I encourage you to send your question. It can be about spiritual development. It can be about how do I navigate a Thanksgiving dinner with toxic family members? How do I? Ask the questions. There are no stupid questions. There are just the ones that are not asked. I have been sent away my whole life telling me that I ask too many questions. Colleen, you ask too many questions. Colleen, you're too curious. Colleen, you ask questions you don't need to know. School was really tough for me because I had a lot of questions and I had a lot of people who did not want to answer those questions. So in this learning womb, I want you to ask the questions that you may not have anyone to ask. And I will channel the answers and share them with you because we are stronger together as a collective unit of oneness when we share the light, the love, and the wisdom. So thank you so much for listening. I'm Colleen St. Michaels, and catch you next time. Thank you for tuning in and joining Colleen St. Michaels on this transformation journey. If you have any questions, insights, or topics that you'd like to engage or ask, please visit www.colleenstmichaels.com under the podcast page of Ask Colleen to submit your question. I look forward to connecting with you next time. Have a beautiful day.